Welcome to Memphis Light Gas and Water's Power Up Memphis. I'm your host, Gale Jones Carson, the Vice President of Community and External Affairs for Memphis Light Gas and Water. The aim of Power Up Memphis is to take you, our customers, on an inside tour of MLGW to share our programs and operations with you. And by doing so, we can all better understand how we function as your utility provider. During the last couple of years, Memphis and Shelby County and the rest of the world have been dealing with the COVID pandemic. And as a consequence, a lot of people have lost jobs, are in more financial straits than ever before. So many dollars have been made available locally and on the federal level to help our customers pay their utility assistance, as well as some rental assistance. Today, we're going to be covering some of the programs and some of the dollars that are available for MLGW customers. So our guests today are Julie Meiman, who's the Community Engagement and Outreach Specialist at Shelby County's Division of Community Service. Also on the show today is MLGW's Supervisor of Credit Operations, which is Barbara Martin. But right now, we're going to start with Julie. Julie, thank you so very much for coming on with us and sharing very vital, helpful information for our customers regarding utility assistance. Could you please tell us basically what your department does and also what you do?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on the show today, Gail. Yes, I work for Shelby County Government's Division of Community Services, and I oversee our community development block grant coronavirus funding. So just to give you a little background, this funding that we have is part of the CARES Act funding. So Congress passed an act, allocated over $5 billion nationally to address coronavirus related issues. And then that federal funding came down to local states and local municipalities. So that's where the money came from. It is intended to help us prevent, prepare for, and respond to the threat of COVID-19. So within Shelby County and within this, and I say new round of funding because we really just launched the program. Our first funding went out at the end of October of 2021. So I will talk about this a little bit maybe at the end, but we do have plenty of funding available and the program is fairly new. It is intended to help people who have gotten behind on bills because of COVID-19. And as you mentioned, Gail, and as we all know, everybody has been impacted in some way or another. Many people are behind on their bills. And so this is specifically mortgage and utility assistance. And we can kind of get into some of the details if you want of how someone might qualify or know that they're eligible for this funding.
Oh, so did you get the money? So we basically here in America, for the most part, we're here with COVID. March 2020. So when did the funding come available? 2020, 2021?
Yeah. The funding, as I understand it, was granted to Shelby County in 2021. And so once the funding became available, then we spent some time, we've collaborated with the Department of Planning and Development, which is another government, a division of government in Shelby County, to really be thoughtful and think about how we wanted to allocate this money. And so once we spent some time developing the program, then we launched in the fall.
So when you develop the program, you also develop the guidelines for those who qualify, right?
Yes.
Or do you have federal guidelines?
It's a little bit of both. It is the Housing and Urban Development funding, HUD funding. So, of course, there are lots of guidelines, federal guidelines that we have to adhere to. But we did have a fair amount of, it was the terms of the grant were written broadly. So we were really able to put into place some policies that we felt would really be able to help the most people. Now, one of the things that people should know, and this is one of the most common reasons for not being able to to have access to the funding that we've had since the program launch is that it is only for residents who are outside the city of Memphis. And in a little bit, I'll reference a slide to that because I know we wanted to talk first about just how you qualify, but that is qualification number one.
Okay, so let me go back. So people who live inside the city of Memphis are not eligible for these dollars.
That is correct.
But I do know some dollars that were available, some federal dollars that were available in 2020 were available to Memphis and Shelby County residents. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
There is so much funding coming down from the federal government. We will continue to see this. New programs will be popping up as we continue on through this pandemic, or what we hope to be is the end of the pandemic. So this particular round, yes, is available for residents of Arlington, Bartlett, Collierville, Germantown, Lakeland, Millington, and unincorporated areas of Shelby County. So that's our first qualification. You know, with the community development block grant funding, the city of Memphis, we all know because we live here, but city and county, we have separate governments. So the city receives funding, the county receives funding. And so the reason why this is designated for those areas is because those areas, and especially rural Shelby County, really needed some attention. And so that is the first designation or qualification.
So how well received is it being, how well are the dollars being received and the program being received with those towns that you've mentioned, the 6 towns?
Yes, you know, we have found that, you know, in all the outreach that we have done, the way word has spread about our program best is through social media and word of mouth. So I can almost sort of tell from the applications where people are talking about it and spreading the word. And so far that tends to be in Millington and then those unincorporated areas of Shelby County.
Okay, and so yes, how many millions are we talking about for utility assistance and rental?
Okay, so this fund has about $1.8 million of assistance available. Because it's new, we have only spent down maybe $130,000 of it, and applications are coming in every day, and so it's gaining some traction. Funding is going out the door, but it is important for people to know that there's plenty of funding available, and they should reach out for assistance if they need it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So regarding the rental assistance, this does not apply to homeowners. It only applies to those who rent monthly.
No, this is mortgage. And
really? So this definitely is new, because I know some other funding that was available last year was only for those who rent. So this is, thank you. Well, I'm glad this.
Well, I get the confusion because like we said, there are so many programs right now, but this is a really, really special one in that it can be for mortgage or utility or both. And many people who apply qualify for both. So, you know, I had prepared a few slides. There's
let's do that.
Yeah, I was going to say we can kind of tick through the basic qualifications, and then we can really dive in if some of those areas are confusing. But like I said, the first thing I mentioned, those residents of those outer municipalities and unincorporated Shelby County. Unincorporated is a confusing term. Some people in the Cordova area are in unincorporated Shelby County, and a lot of residents who apply are not quite sure if their address is technically in an unincorporated area. And I'm always happy to look that up and tell people. The second one is that income-wise, their family or their household needs to be at or below 80% of the area median income. So for example, for a family of 4, they would need to earn at or below $4,579 a month. And so the income guidelines are set a little more generously because we want a lot of people to be able to qualify. The third thing to know about this funding is that people have to demonstrate proof of COVID impact. And it does not mean that they or a member of their family have to have had COVID. As we said, we've all been impacted. And so we've had single mothers who, as far back as March 2020, had to stay home from work to care for children and got behind in their bills. And that is proof of COVID impact. So there are many ways that we can work with people to demonstrate that. And the final bullet point on that page is that we can offer 6 consecutive months of mortgage or utility assistance or both. And our limits on those are $8,400 for mortgage and $2,500 for utilities.
So how far back do you go on the mortgage? Do you go 6 months back, or is it what's the time frame for the 6 months?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. The first payment for mortgage or utilities can be a catch-up payment. So we have many people who've gone into forbearance who are thousands and thousands of dollars behind in their mortgage payments. So some people might want that $8,400 all to go to their backup, their catch-up payment. So that first month can actually dip back into what is past due.
Oh, okay. So you gave one example of being impacted by COVID was a mother who has to stay home because of the daycare or school situation. What are a few other examples of being impacted by COVID?
Yes, I'm seeing a lot of people whose hours were reduced because their company could no longer did need their services for that 40 hours a week. So a lot of people had a reduction in work hours. Many people were laid off during COVID and got behind in their bills that way. There are some people who have been able to, who didn't really necessarily have a letter or paper documentation, but were able to self-certify. And because they're uploading their bank statements and some of the usual things that you would need to upload to apply for financial assistance, we were really able to put together that picture and see how it is that they were impacted.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. So also, could you share with us, do you have a deadline to spend all of these dollars? Do you have to spend them by December 2022 or just until the funds are gone?
I think technically we have until the end of 2023, maybe beginning of 2024 to spend down. And they, at the rate that they are trickling out the door, I suspect it will be before that time. But I would say, within this next year, this funding really should be available. And so people should feel free to reach out. It's there for them. And a lot of people have a hard time reaching out for assistance, paying their mortgage or their utilities. But I tell people all the time, this is what it's here for.
Okay, so you did mention that people just need to reach out. How should they reach out? Who can they call? How do they go online? How do they apply?
Yes. I believe the second slide I offered, if there's any interest in throwing that up, does show the map of Shelby County. And this is accessible online. Just another way people can find out if they're in technically outside the city of Memphis. But yes, on the third slide, I have listed the documents that are needed to apply, your standard documents that you would need for any assistance program, ID, proof of residence, proof of income. People can just go down the checklist to be sure they have everything to support their application. They can print it out, or it is fillable online at www.shelbycountytn.gov/community-services/coronavirus. Now, if that's too much to remember, Google Shelby County Community Services, and on that page, they will see the coronavirus resources. It's a big red button, and our application is in there. My email address is scap, that's Shelby County Assistance Program. That's at shelbycountytn.gov. That's scap at shelbycountytn.gov. I'm so happy to answer any questions at all. People reach out frequently and just want to know a little bit before they apply. And I'm happy to do that.
Julie, I want to thank you so very much for coming on and sharing this valuable and helpful information for our customers. And this is Julie Meiman. She's a community engagement and outreach specialist for Shelby County, for the Shelby County Division of Community Service for Shelby County. Thank you, Julie, for being with us today.
Thank you, Gail. I enjoyed it. Have a great day.
Can make you happy too. 1 + 1 544-6549 or visit mlgw.com/+1.
Thank you for staying through the break with us and returning to Memphis Like Gas and Water's Power Up Memphis. Our next guest is Barbara Martin, and Barbara is the supervisor of credit operations at Memphis Light Gas and Water. So Barbara, tell us what you do at Memphis Light Gas and Water.
Thank you, Gail, for having me on the show today. I supervise credit operations department. It's a department of about 20 ladies, and we have 10 different job responsibilities in one area. So we are really, really busy. We do commercial deposits, we do life support customers, collection agency control. I handle residential service agreements, commercial general power service agreements. We do delinquency process. We have bankruptcies. We do research, credit balance refunds, clerical, and social agencies.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot, Barbara. Let me tell us, how have you all been pivoting through the pandemic?
Oh, it's been a process. I have 4 employees that are in the office every day, and it's by their choice. And then the others telecommute, and they have to come into the office sometimes, maybe once or twice a week, because we get checks in from the courts, and we get legal documents for bankruptcies and things that they'll have to come in. But most of our work is pulled through the CIS system on SpoolView for like delinquency processing. It process out through our IT department overnight. So they can pull the work with the accounts. If they're looking for inactive accounts to have a balance, they can pull that work in the mornings through the CIS system.
So do you all interact with our customers via phone or email? How do you deal with our customers since we've been doing the pandemic?
Well, most of the time, our work in credit operations is internal. We deal directly with credit counselors and service advisors. When they take the incoming calls from customers, we don't really talk to customers over the phone. So if our service advisors have a problem, or credit counselors or something with a bankruptcy or DL or something on a customer's account that there's not a note on there or something, we try to put good notes where it's when they're talking to the customer, they can explain what we've done. But if they have to call us, that's fine. So I have someone in the office, they can even send us an email, or call, or if it's something about bankruptcies, I have a person in the office every day that handle bankruptcies.
So you did mention one area that I kind of would like to touch on, because we get questions about it all the time. And that is the one that you mentioned regarding, say, for example, a customer is on an oxygen machine, or a customer is on a CPAP machine. How do we deal with those kinds of customers? How do we determine which customers fall on the program that we deal with them and their payments a little bit differently?
Well, that's our life support program. We have about 75 customers that are confined to their home, whereas if there's a power outage or something, it will be a problem for them to just get out at that time. So we are in close contact with these customers, and they have to be on a ventilator, or there's an apnea machine, or there's a tracheal device support machine for a customer that doesn't have a heart, and they're just confined to their home, and they're on a machine that pumps the blood through their heart so that they can live. So we monitor these accounts and see if there's an outage in the area. We get a notice and we alert the customers. Their account should be flagged at the pole that there's a life support customer in the area. So if men are out there working, they'll know that there's a person in the area. We may have to contact the fire department to get a generator or something like that, or the person would have to be transported to the hospital so that we won't cause, any harm to that customer.
So do we follow federal guidelines when we allow customers to participate in that program?
Yes, we do. There's a guidelines that we have strictly just for life support customers. They have to fill out an application. They also have to get a certification from their doctor to say that they're on a particular equipment.
I appreciate that information, but you also mentioned something else that I want to to move on to, you work with a lot of social service agencies, and you also work with utility assistance programs. One in particular that kind of is near and dear to my heart that I've been working with you all for, and that's the City of Memphis's Utility Assistance Program. Could you tell us a little bit about that program?
This program is through the City of Memphis. It's approved by Mayor Jim Strickland, and that's where the city gives $1 million every year to Memphis Light, Gas, and Water to allocate to customers that are Department of Human Service clients. And this year, we're using the Neighborhood Christian Center. And the customer have to already be a client of DHS. And in order to qualify for this money, they could get up to $500 on their utility bill if they have a cutoff notice, a current cutoff notice, if they live in the City of Memphis, and if they are the customer of record for on the MLGW bill or their spouse. Now, they could also be deployed on military, on active military duty, or disabled, and then they will qualify for this money. And that can go through the Department of Human Service or through the Neighborhood Christian Center.
Okay, and so I want to touch on one thing you said, that they have to be, if they are a client of DHS, and they don't necessarily have to be a client of DHS, but the reason being a client of DHS is really important is because those clients pretty much meet all of the guidelines that you spelled out. So it's just easier and quicker for our clients, our customers to be served if they are clients of DHS, but they don't have to be a DHS person, because I do know that there are a lot of seniors who meet those requirements who don't receive anything from the Department of Human Service, and they can easily go to the Neighborhood Christian Center and contact them for assistance with the city's utility assistance. And right now I understand they just opened up a few days ago, and just in a couple of days they had over 900 applicants, and the Department of Human Services also receiving applications as well. Right. Tell us about some of the other utility support that you provide. I know that when customers call you, many of us call and say this customer needs help, and you and your staff, you find social service agencies or you find dollars to help those customers. Could you just talk to us a little about that?
Yeah, we can go through CSA has money to help our customers. MIFA has money, and then there's several nonprofit organizations throughout the city of Memphis and Shelby County that allocate monies. There's local churches that help. Churches help their congregations, and some churches help the customers within their zip code, and they will allocate money. So it's not that they're just confined to one agency. Now they can. Now, for the City of Memphis money, now that money is allocated for DHS and for the Neighborhood Christian Center. So the customer can't go to Neighborhood Christian Center, get $500, and go to the Department of Human Service and get $500. No, they can't, but they can go to Neighborhood Christian Center and go to MIFA, or a church may help them, so that their service is not cut off.
And a lot of ministers do help their parishioners. And we also have what we call the gift of comfort. Anyone who wants to pay a family member or friend or senior citizen's utility bill, they can just fill out this gift of comfort and pay the bill. They can, and it can be anonymous, or they can let the customer know. All they need is the customer's address to help pay that bill. And a lot of people in Memphis do that. We are a very giving city. So, so could you also talk about the dashboard that Memphis Light, Gas, and Water uses that shows the various agencies in Memphis and Shelby County that have funds available for our customers?
Right. This dashboard was created through our IT department because we wanted customers to be able to go out. It's online, whereas they can see what agencies have money or have funds, because during the COVID, it was so much money that was coming through for COVID-19. So we wanted to just make this aware and have it, just right at the fingertips so that we can help our customers. And one other agency that has come up on board, been about 3 years, and it's called the DAG. It's a Directory Assist Program, Gail, and they help the homeless. They help them with food, with clothing, and even try to get shelter for them. So, and it's through CSA. So that has been really, really good in helping customers that don't have a utility bill, but they're homeless.
Well, I do want to salute the community CSA headed up by Dorcas Griffin. They have so many programs available to help citizens of Memphis and Shelby County with utility assistance, with rental assistance, and other programs that they have. And we partner, also we partnered with Shelby County Schools last year. You want to talk about that? How we helped them locate homes that needed assistance.
And also, Ms. Julie talked about the agency that helped customers with mortgage, but there is one that helped renters. That's at the home 901.org, where they help renters if they're about to be evicted or so, they can go and fill out an application to get assistance as well.
So, you know, Barbara, I do want you to know that you're greatly appreciated. Your staff's greatly appreciated. You provide so much social service support for our customers. And I think that a lot of customers don't realize that, but you work with social service agencies throughout Shelby County. When customers call and need help, you find that help for them. So I just want you to know we do appreciate you greatly. So do you have any closing comments or suggestions for our customers that would be helpful?
Well, first I want to say that I love the job that I do. I've been in customer service for over 25 years, and that's my passion, is to help. I came by way of the call center and helping customers. So we want to be able to let the customers know, if you need help, you know, call us and just let us know you're about to be evicted. There are programs out there that will help, whereas your service would not have to be cut off. We have a program now is going through the winter moratorium for our seniors, you know, started December through March 1st, whereas customers don't have to pay on their bills and they won't be cut out, but we encourage them to pay on it. So when March comes, you won't have a large bill and subject to be cut off. But it's so many programs that Memphis Light, Gas, and Water offer. So customers just call through our call center, 544-6549, and just let us know, because we are here to help.
Barbara, thank you so very much for coming on and sharing the valuable information that you have with our viewers today. Thank you, and have an awesome rest of the day.
You too.
Thank you so very much for watching Memphis Light, Gas, and Water's Power Up Memphis. I hope that the information that has been shared with you today will be very useful to you. There's a lot of utility assistance and rental assistance available in Memphis and Shelby County, and we want you to take advantage of that. Continue to mask up and social distance. Thank you very much for watching.
You're watching the Library Channel, a broadcast service of the Memphis Public Libraries and the City of Memphis.